So I'll never forget, a woman walked into my gym one day and she wanted to sign up. And we were just doing our regular consult, the whole deal, where were you before this, what were you doing? And she was telling me, she was like, I was a member of the gym for about 6 months, wasn't really happy with the results. And I was like, well, all right, where were you? She was like, I can't remember the name. I was like, that shook me so to the core. It's like, you worked out somewhere at a gym just like mine, you can't even remember the name of the person who dealt with the person that should have poured their life into you. And that, since that day, I made it a resolution to myself, made a promise to myself. Every single person that walks through my doors, every single person that I meet, they're gonna remember my name, they're gonna remember the name of my gym. Whether they sign up for what we do or not, I'm gonna be memorable to these people. So a lot of that comes in your first impression. So today, I'm gonna talk to you guys about science-backed tricks with body language, eye contact, hand movement, things that you can hack your first impression with everybody that you guys meet. So we're gonna talk about hacking eye contact, hand gestures, conversations that are gonna make you more memorable, using vulnerability, and remembering names. Who here has trouble remembering names sometimes? Awesome. So I'm gonna show you guys some cool tricks. I'm terrible at it. The first thing, if somebody walks into your gym, make eye contact. It's one of the first ways that you can build a good relationship with somebody. So studies show that people are gonna decide whether they trust or wanna build a relationship with you within the first 7 seconds of seeing you, before you do anything, before you speak or anything that you do in that interaction. So the first 7 seconds. There was a study that was done where they showed muted clips of professors at local colleges giving a presentation. They showed a 7-second clip of these professors, just the way their hand movement, just the way they carry themselves, and the students rated them on that 7 seconds of a muted clip. And the ratings that they gave after that 7 seconds, they gave them a rating, and the same rating, or the same score, the score was the same after an entire semester of taking their class. So the people that you meet are giving you a rating within the first 7 seconds before they even hear you speak. And it's just the way you carry yourself, the way that you approach them, the eye contact that you make, whatever it is. So like I said, people are gonna decide if they like, trust, and want a relationship with somebody within the first 7 seconds. So eye contact. Like I said, when they walk in the door, the first thing that you can do is make eye contact. I talked about this before. Making eye contact with the person's left eye, they say that's the window to the soul. It connects to the right hemisphere of the brain, which is in charge of the emotional responses, a lot of decision making, okay? So look to the person next to you, look into their left eye for 5 seconds. Right now, do it. Does that feel fucking awkward? You want to shoot back and forth, it's fucking awkward. So the fact that that was so difficult means that nobody else is doing that. No other people they're in a regular conversation with or interaction with are going to be looking into that really vulnerable part of their soul and their mind. So you want to lock in with the left eye as soon as you can. So eye contact releases oxytocin, all right? The same hormone that's released when you have sex, and the same hormone decides if you want to build trust or a relationship with anybody that you meet. So if you can release oxytocin in somebody when you're making an interaction, they're probably more likely to buy from you or want to build a relationship with you. So there's a study that was done, or there's a viral video that was going on, where they took 2 complete strangers and told them to look into each other's eyes for 1 minute. Every single one of those people broke into tears. I don't know what the fuck that was about, but it's a pretty strong reaction from just locking eyes with somebody. So that's how powerful eye contact can be with a potential customer. So you want to try and maintain eye contact for at least 60% of the interaction with the person. That's going to be a really powerful sales tool without having to do anything else. Your hands, okay? Your hands are also the next probably most powerful thing that you can use. A lot of people don't know this, but the hands are one of the first things that you look at when you approach somebody, all right? Just like Ricky Bobby, if you don't know what to do with your hands are a really powerful symbol. Back in the caveman days, your hands, if you showed your hands, you were showing that you came in peace. You didn't have a weapon, you didn't have a clenched fist, you weren't looking to fight, all right? So it's very comforting to approach somebody with open hands. If somebody walks through your doors, it's very important to show your palms, just like this guy. Showing your palms is a very easy way to build trust with somebody within those first 7 seconds and hacking that interaction. So So the hands build trust, and any way that you can do an open palm or open hand for as much as that interaction as possible is going to help build more trust. So that is a picture of a handshake. Your handshake is also very important. People are going to judge you based on your handshake. Dry hands, obviously, if you're a sweater, I sweat, so I'll wipe my hands off. So you always want to have dry hands. You also always want to shake hands vertically, okay? Especially in a sales type role in the gyms like ours. People are fucking scared to walk through our doors, okay? Going over the top is way too dominant for somebody that's scared to walk through your doors, okay? They're immediately gonna feel intimidated if you go in, kind of go palms down. That's like a very controlling, more dominant and aggressive approach to something, and going two palms up is gonna be too submissive. You also wanna take control of the conversation and lead them down the road to a sale and to building a relationship. Does that make sense? Lastly, you want to try and, if you shake hands, you want to shake hands just like you're testing the ripeness of a peach. Okay, not too soft, not too hard. All right? Lastly, any other physical skin-to-skin contact is going to help with that oxytocin release in the other person, which, like I said, is going to help build trust, and you're going to make them decide if they want to build a relationship with you. Another study was done with like car salesmen, where they approached people and they asked them if they wanted to, fill out a survey. Okay. One group, they just asked if they wanted to fill out a survey without any physical contact. The other group, they lightly touched them on the upper arm to get their attention. The group where there was a light upper arm touch, the no-touch group had a 50% rate of people wanting to fill out the survey. The light arm touch had over 80% of those people that wanted to fill it out. So when you're asking for a sale, any type of physical contact, if you're directing them, touching on the upper arm, any skin-to-skin contact, that's appropriate. Okay, Charles? It's got to be appropriate in a sales contact. So, shake hands, any kind of upper arm, elbow, anything in appropriate sense is going to help, again, build that oxytocin release, build trust, and make them want a relationship with you. Conversations. So conversations are the next thing that are really going to set you apart with the people that you meet, okay? Conversations can get very dull, and we can get locked into certain scripts. And this whole weekend, we've been talking about being unique, being you, and being the type of person that you want other people to be. I'm not going to give you guys a sales script. I fucking hate that. Everyone's got your own unique personality with how you sell and how you want to present yourself. But you want to be unique. You want to make people remember you. So you want to create what are called conversation sparks. Okay? These are things in the conversation that are going to spike the dopamine release in the brain. So dopamine reaches a widespread portion of the brain that is concerned with emotion, pleasure, memory of emotional events, and decision-making ability for emotional events. You think signing up for a gym membership like ours is going to be somewhat of an emotional event? Or your sales consult is going to be an emotional event? So you want to create these conversation sparks. This is the 5, 6, 7 technique. This is really digging deep into people, the reason why they want to come in. That's all going to help build this dopamine release in the brain. So you want to use words in your conversation that sparks dopamine and makes them excited and really stands out in their mind. So you can start using things that are a little bit more novelty. Okay, how many people remember the first word that I said when I stood up here? Howdy. Right? Howdy. So that's sort of like a novelty thing. You don't hear that every day. So studies were done, and they use an fMRI scan. They scanned the brain scans of participants. They showed them regular, people with facial expressions, and every once in a while they'd throw a picture in of like a really novelty, goofy face. Every time that novelty face popped up, the dopamine spiked in their brain, and that made it a more memorable image. Okay, so anything you can do to create novelty, or things that stand out and are different, are going to improve memory and learning, pleasure, and interest. Okay, you want people to remember you. You want them to be happy to meet you, and you want them to be interested in what you're saying. So there's a cool study that was done. OkCupid, the dating site, did a study on the introductions that got the highest response rate of anybody on their dating site. So the lowest was hi, hey, and hello. The highest open rate was how's it going, what's up, and howdy. Okay? Howdy received a 40% higher open rate than any other greeting. All right? Isn't that fucking ridiculous? But it stands out. It was a novelty thing. it spiked the dopamine release, and it was something that, you know, created engagement. So you guys can come up with some kind of unique greeting that's unique to you that people are going to remember, okay? I always say, what's happening? Anytime I meet somebody, I say, what's happening? If I walk into a store, I say, what's happening? It's something different, all right? Sort of like, how's it going? That's what I always say. So further into conversations, you can do conversation swaps. So a lot of this comes from a book that I read. It's called Captivate. It's all about how to be more memorable and how to create good relationships. So here were some examples they talked about. Swap out the boring conversation that you guys might have with clients, consults, people that you're trying to sell to. So instead of saying, how's work? You can ask, you know, are you working on any exciting projects, right? This is a lot of stuff that, you know, gets people to vibrate at a higher level, like Paul's talked about on his calls, the power versus force talks, okay? Instead of saying, how are you? And say, tell me what the highlight of your day is so far, all right? These are things that are a little bit more novelty. They're gonna stand out in somebody's mind. Instead of saying, where are you from? Say, what's your story? Tell me what your story is, right? Instead of saying, what brings you in, all right? What excited you most about the gym that made you want to reach out, right? All these things are triggering happier, more exciting, and more, you know, interesting things than just the basic shit, right? Next, in the conversation, let them impress you as much as possible. There's some Dale Carnegie quote that's, you know, you'll make more friends or relationships by letting them impress you than you trying to impress somebody, right? So everything that you're saying, be blown away by it. Right? If somebody's telling you about their job, wow, like, I'm amazed at the work that teachers do. Let them impress you. All of that is just going to make the dopamine centers of their brain fire up. They're going to be more memorable. They're going to have a more pleasurable experience while they're with you, right? Even, you know, a really simple one is acknowledging that they should be really proud of themselves for making it in. If they're a mom, if they work full time, whatever it is, you know, just like the sign on the door, you just did the hardest part. You should be really proud of yourself. Not many people would have done that. Right? That's a really memorable thing, you know? When you hear that from somebody, that's like, makes you feel good. Next, introductions are a really powerful way to systematize this. So let's say I just met Ryan, right? Ryan walks into my gym, we do a consult, I'm bringing it out on the floor. I'm like, Hunter, dude, Ryan's killing it in his business. He just had a baby. He's killing it. And we're gonna help him lose a little bit of weight. He's like, I want you to introduce yourself. So you can find ways to rave about somebody through an introduction, and that's going to make them feel like a celebrity rather than just a simple, like, hey, this is our new member. You guys are going to work out together, right? So you guys want to find ways to kind of rave about clients, make them feel good about themselves in that initial reaction. That's all going to go a long way with long-term retention. Vulnerability. So I know all of us are not afraid to be vulnerable, but vulnerability is actually a very powerful sales tactic, right? So there's something called the Franklin effect. All right, you guys ever heard of this? So Ben Franklin, we all know who Ben Franklin was, right? So he didn't just invent electricity, he also invented something called the Franklin effect. So there was somebody that he knew that was really hard ass, he was really hard to like get in with, all right? And this guy had a book that Ben wanted to borrow. So he reached out to this guy and he said, hey, can I borrow this book? I'll return it. The guy said yes, borrowed the book, thanked him later for it. And after that, the guy was a lot easier to deal with, right? He was a lot friendlier, he was a lot easier to deal with. So this started the Franklin effect. Write this down. The Franklin effect is the effect of when you ask somebody for a favor, in turn you become more likable. When you ask somebody for a favor, you become more likable. And this is, I'm blanking on the word now, but this is basically your brain's way of justifying, I wouldn't do something for this guy if I didn't like him, right? Even if it's something so fucking small, like you sit down in a console and you ask him to pass you a piece of paper. If you show any type of vulnerability, especially if you look like me, you look like any of these guys in the room, they're jacked, you're sitting down with somebody that's 50 pounds overweight, showing any type of vulnerability is gonna make you look more human, make them feel more comfortable, make you more likable. So the Franklin effect, I'll say one more study because I think I have time. The study was done where they had college students take a survey. All right, there were 3 test groups. The first test group went in to take this survey, and there was a paid actor that was the administrator who was an asshole. All right, he was a dick to these students. They came in, he was rude, he rushed them. You know, he was just an asshole. The first group left. that administrator chased them out and said, hey, I hate to do this. I'm running this study by myself. I'm running out of funds. Can I get the money back? They got like $10 for taking the survey. So students were like, what the fuck? Like, we took this for the $10. So they gave the money back. Test group 2 went in. The guy was a dick, and they took the test, and nobody asked for the money back. Months later, when they asked the students to review the likability of the administrator, the guy that was an asshole, the group 1, where that asshole asked for their money back because he showed vulnerability and said I was running out of money, rated the highest, right? So that's just the Franklin effect, in another study. So any way that you can show vulnerability, as simple as, hey, could you hand me that piece of paper? Or, hey, if there's a chair there, can you bring that chair in? I forgot. Anything like that's going to go a long way. Names. I'm horrible at names. They say a lot of times if you're bad, if you have trouble remembering names, a lot of times it's because you're too worried about how you're being perceived that you're not able to retain their information. So everybody knows the number one thing people want to hear is their own name, right? More brain activity in the most important areas of the brain when you hear your own name as opposed to others. We've talked about this before. Names are so important to use as much as possible in a sales consult on a daily basis and everything. So here's a cool name remembering trick. This is like a 3-part name remembering trick. The first one is the meet and repeat, right? So if Ryan comes in and he says, hey, I'm Ryan, I say, Ryan, it's nice to meet you. Ryan, let's go back. You want to repeat that as much as possible for 2 reasons. First, that is going to hit the auditory part of your brain. Just repeating that name and associating that is going to help you retain that. And also, he's going to be hearing his own name. Okay, so that's going to be giving him that shot of dopamine that he needs to build a more pleasurable and interesting relationship. So the meet and repeat, try and use that name back as fast as you can. Second, spell it out. I think this is more of an NLP thing, but try and imagine spelling that name out in your mind, okay? So that's gonna hit the more visual area of the brain if you can visualize it, or seeing it printed somewhere. All right, so if somebody says their name, seeing it printed kind of in your mind's eye is gonna help you remember that name. And the last one is associate and anchor. So if Ryan was sitting, here and he introduced me to somebody, I want to think of him meeting another Ryan. Okay? So use somebody that you know is named Ryan. Kind of, envision 2 Ryans shaking hands or playing poker or whatever it is. So that's it. Associate and anchor. And it's an NLP trick, Paul, right? Something like that. So like I said, if their name is Paul, you can picture them meeting Paul Reddick. If you forget somebody's name, which I know happens, it happens to me all the time, and I feel like an asshole if I see somebody, I'm like, man, I know that person's name, but we just met. I'm embarrassed to go tell them that I forgot the name. So there's a cool system, and you guys should set this up in your business. I have a coach named Jeff, so we have basically like a little code word. If I go up to somebody, or if I grab Jeff, and you can do this, whatever, you want to have a little script. So I would go up to Jeff and be like, Jeff, I want to introduce you to our newest member. And Jeff knows that if I don't say their name, he needs to shoot in right away and say, hey, I'm Jeff, what's your name, right? So that takes it out off of my plate. I don't have to have awkward like Jeff, I want you to meet, that eliminates that. So you guys can set up a system like that. You can set up a system with that for your members. Just something that your coaches know, your staff knows, that they need to shoot in really quick and say, hey, what's your name, all right? You guys feel like you can apply that in your business? So that's kind of it. So to wrap it up, if you want to make a killer first impression, never be forgotten, be the most memorable person in the room, you want to start with eye contact, locking in with that left eye, 60% of the conversation. Open-handed posture, showing your palms any way possible, and try and get any physical skin-to-skin contact during that interaction. Sparkling conversation, try and swap out some of the boring, scripts that you're used to with more novelty ways of speaking. Letting them impress you, finding ways to rave about them in conversation. Being vulnerable, asking them for a favor is going to make you more likable, and using their name and creating a system for remembering their name as much as possible. That's it. Yeah.